Today we're talking about the Dodge Cummins 5.9 liter and 6.7 liter engines, and we're primarily discussing the fuel delivery system. And the question's been posed to me and Ed several times by both our technicians that we speak with and our store teams that we speak with as to why we should really be looking at the fuel delivery tubes, or as some people call them, the crossover tubes, when it comes to replacing injectors. What's the importance of the fuel delivery tube? Why should we replace it every time we replace an injector, and why should we do it for all injectors at the same time? And with that said, I'm going to throw it over to Ed here because Ed seems to have a pretty good amount of knowledge on this, and he's actually educated me quite a bit on why these fuel delivery tubes are so important. So, Ed?
Thanks, Corey. So today we're looking at the fuel delivery system on a 5.9 or 6.7 Cummins diesel. Fuel runs through the high pressure rail, through the tubes. Then we have what we call crossover tubes, fuel delivery sleeves, as a various number of descriptions for them. But basically all it is a delivery tube that delivers tube from the high pressure rail through the cylinder head and into the injector that's mounted directly inside the center of the cylinder head. Now, why are these critical? Well, for a couple of different reasons. Number one, these are what is called a scar seat. They're a one-time use only, and a lot of technicians, they don't realize that that is the case, that they should be replaced every time the torque is removed from that retaining nut. The scar seat simply means that the material of the injector body is harder than the material of the delivery tube. So when that torque is applied to that tube, it actually fits to the inside portion or the seat on the injector itself. Now, there are a couple of different tubes. The original 5.9 tube was a matte gray in color. The originals actually had two buttons on them rather than the individual button now where it's been updated. When they came out with the 6.7, the 6.7s came out with a different style of tube. The only real difference is that it is a polished finish. It has now superseded the original 5.9. So we really only have one part number now to cover both applications, 5.9 and 6.7. The importance of these is that as fuel runs through them, there are also small filters in here, and they will collect any particulate. If these are not replaced with each injector replacement, then any particulate that's left inside the tube will immediately be able to enter a brand new injector, causing damage.
So, Ed, what you're saying is between the injector and this tube, one of the last lines of defense of keeping debris out of the system and out of the injector is the filtration in this tube. So if there were already debris in the tube whenever the injector was replaced, there's a good chance that the pressure that's built up could push that debris through the tube into the new injector, causing a failure pretty fast, right?
Exactly. So this has filters internally. They're not a very fine filter, but they do catch the major particulate. But if these aren't replaced, any fine particulates in there will enter the injector. These injectors have clearances of microns, not of thousands of inches. So it's far smaller than a grain of sand. Any tiny little particulate can get stuck in the needle and seat, allowing the seat to stay open, or the needle and seat to stay open, allowing fuel to flow constantly, causing definite internal engine issues.
So that's really good information, Ed. And now that we've got a closer up view here, can you maybe show the viewers out there a little bit more about what you're talking about as far as the seat that's on the injector and the filter that's in the delivery tube itself?
Absolutely. So inside the injector, here's the seat that we're going to be seating into. Here, the delivery tube. If you can just barely see inside, there are some blockages internally in there, filters that will catch the larger particulate to keep it from damaging the injector. As you can see on the seat here, this one has never been used. It's never been seated in all the way. This will simply fit here. The material on the tube is slightly softer than the material in the housing of the injector. So as you tighten the cap nut down at the designated 37 foot-pounds, it is enough pressure to allow this metal seat to seal against the injector body, creating your seal and holding in that pressure of the high pressure fuel delivery system on the Cummins.
So I guess, Ed, what you're saying is the only thing that's really retaining all that pressure, and we're talking thousands of fuel pressure PSI running through the system, right?
Correct. Anywhere between 25 and 30,000 peak pressure.
And so the only thing that's keeping that pressure built up and not leaking back is that crush fit that's going on there. If that's not going to make a perfect maintained fit, we're going to have leak back and we're going to have fuel related issues.
Right. Then you're going to be building oil in the crank, or be building oil in the crankcase, which is just fuel that's running rampant inside and into the crankcase, and building your oil levels internally.
And so, and here's another thing, and then you're going to hear this out there sometimes, and this is something I've heard, Ed. With these tubes, you know, we have some technicians out there that have come up with some ways to reuse the tubes, and sometimes, and a lot of times, they will get, you know, by with reusing them by torquing them to a higher torque specification. A lot of times we'll find that we'll have a technician that replaces all 6 injectors, and 5 of the reused tubes, they'll work fine reusing them once, but then they have 1 injector that won't seat properly and doesn't have the right amount of fuel pressure, and it really causes them a lot of headaches because the truck will come back, it won't be running properly, and now they have to go through a complete diagnostic process of trying to determine which injector is the one that's not building the right amount of fuel pressure. And generally speaking, that's probably related back to that delivery tube, right, Ed?
Correct. And what we like to recommend to each of the techs is to go back and read the TSBs put out by Dodge. They tell you that these tubes are a one-time use only. Once the torque has been relieved from that cap nut on there, this tube comes out, it's a throwaway. Replace it with a new one every time. Whether you're replacing the injector or not, anytime this is removed, you need to replace the tube. It's just a very simple, very easy insurance policy to keep additional issues from occurring.
Very good. So I guess the end result here and the moral of the story is whether you have a seasoned technician working on Dodge Cummins or you have a new technician that's kind of dipping their toes into diesel for the first time, we want to recommend these tubes whenever we're doing a 6.7 or 5.9 injector on a Dodge Cummins. One, it's doing the job right the first time, but it also saves that technician and that shop owner a headache when there's a comeback and reputation when their customer has to bring the vehicle back. So moral of the story, if we want to get the job done right the first time, let's make sure we recommend these delivery tubes on the 6.7 and 5.9 injectors. Just
be in a habit. Anytime you order an injector, order the tube to go with it. Save yourself a lot of headaches down the road.
Yeah, very good.
Do the job correct.
Ed, I do appreciate all the information, and hopefully you all have a better understanding now of what to recommend when you get that call on those 6.7 or 5.9 injectors for a Dodge Cummins. Thanks for watching.